Welcome, dear listeners. It is I, once again, your Skald, the Sigmarillion. And today, I intend for us to continue on our journey through the epochs of the Age of Myth. The last time we gathered here, we explored the stories and legends regarding the world that was, and its eventual destruction by the hands of evil. The chaos gods and other forces of sheer destruction and terror prevailed against the orders of light and hope, even with the aid from the returned god king Sigmar. But before I continue, it is crucial to know that the Age of Myth is only contained in stories and sagas, and much of what we think we know may simply not be accurate. As Sigmar flew, near lifeless across the firmament atop the shattered remains of the world that was, the golden gleam of malice, the heart core of the old world, drew the eye of a gargantuan beast of the void. The beast soared through the stardust with wings of bright brilliance, as the dragon-like god-beast eventually caught up with the soaring twin-tailed comet of malice. Dracothian was the name of the god-beast, the great drake, the celestial dragon. Its body's brilliant celestial light was contrasted to the infinite night of the void, and its curiosity at having seen something as golden and brilliant as it, piercing the twilight, entranced the great drake to no bounds. As it was about to set malice in the kaleidoscope of infinite stars in order to better admire its beauty, it noticed the long, still body of Sigmar atop its surface. Sensing a kindred soul, Dracothian breathed life into Sigmar, who gifted golden chunks of malice to the great drake in thanks, forming a friendship between them. Dracothian showed unto Sigmar great wonders of the cosmos, and eventually brought him to the 8 realm spheres which were permeated by a specific aspect of the winds of magic. Through the center of these magical spheres sliced crystallized magic which took the shape of a material plane of existence. Each of the lands contained life, lands, seas, and of course, magics. But each was attuned to the wind of magic the realm sphere was permeated with. The 8 disc-like planes of existence, which we now know as the mortal realms, were, of course, actually the realm of fire, a realm containing lands of literal and metaphorical volatility, where the people's passions and invective permeates its searing winds. Come on, the realm of metal, a realm embodying the very fabric of transmutation and alchemy, where metals and magic intertwine to form its mountainous landscapes. Gur, the realm of beasts, a realm of unbound primeval savagery, where even the lands themselves devour entire continents deemed too weak. Giran, the realm of life, a realm where life is abundant in all of its aspects, where the lands hold bloom and blossom in seasonal cycles. Azir, the realm of heavens, a realm of stars and celestial light, where the sky itself swirls and dances in tandem with spires and crags which in turn glitter in imitation of the heavens. Hish, the realm of light, a realm of purity, light, focus and reason. The lands themselves even contain hidden meanings, awaiting a bright mind's challenge. Ulgu, the realm of shadow, a dark reflection of Hish, where shadow and gloom permeate the very fabric of the realm, in which dark riddles and secrets hide in every shade. And finally, of course, Shaiish, the realm of death, the realm of finality itself, Everything within the realm of death is in an ever-sloping decline until it reaches its inevitable end. Enchanted by the hope of the life and civilization Sigmar had so long missed, he braced himself before plummeting towards the mortal realms with the burning question, is there life here? Sigmar welled his legendary Warhammer Gelmaraz, the Great Shatterer, high, and departed from malice towards the raw, broad coalescences of physical magic that we now call the mortal realms. With the utmost conviction he would tame these realms, for he knew that civilization and life had been given a chance to thrive once more. With celestial light and the might of the heavens, Sigmar battled titans and god-beasts while he wandered between the realms. He traveled to Shyish, the realm of death, and became the first living being to grace the grey ash and bone ground of the underworlds, after having bested mighty hydrogors guarding Shyish's necromantic and decrepit gates. Sigmar then wandered to Gur, the realm of beasts. Sprawling with creatures, animals, beasts and monsters, Gur was home to all aspects of wilderness, savagery, and embodiments of natural selection. A realm of both life and death where primordial competition imbued even the land itself. It is there that Sigmar felled the god-beast Oroxis, the great horned world beast of Gur, in one fell swing of his hammer. As Oroxis fell, its horns formed spire-like spines that seemed to pierce the sky itself. Seeing the great horns of Oroxis, the god-beast Imnok, father of Behemat and progenitor of all giants that we call Gargants, saw an opportunity of great competition. Yet, even his immense size was struck down with the even more immense force of Galmaraz, which shook the very realm itself. Sigmar then wandered to a dark sphere in the night sky, its blackness engulfing even the void around its bulk of black. He illuminated the pitch with lightning shot forth from his brow, diffusing its ever-choking, killing mists, for he had reached Ulgu, the realm of shadow. Sigmar eventually wandered to each of the mortal realms in turn, and slew many of the mighty beings that dared to stand before the might of the heavens itself, and witnessed sights so breathtaking, even Sigmar himself felled a tear of admiration. Yet the most heart-warming aspect of his travels was that he had found life. As he wandered between the realms, Sigmar found the progenitors of our species. Simple nomads and tribes formed from the same fundamental stuff as the earth itself began to follow Sigmar. His golden aura blessed these early men and women, which in short time turned to adoration and revere. Sigmar taught his people how to till and dominate the land. He taught them to speak his native tongue, which in time became the basis of all Azerite languages we know of today. Sigmar showed them how to survive in the wilds, but eventually he had taught them to live, to thrive, to grow and sustain. Civilizations were built over generations, and each new son or daughter became more learned than their parents. All was well, and mortals thrived, elevated from their meager existences only a few generations before. Being a warrior king at heart, however, Sigmar also taught them the art of war and battle. Even having been dominated by our progenitors, the lands contained many dangers, and it would be required for the people to know how to defend themselves. and so humans eventually became masters of both the scythe and the sword, the hoe and the hammer. And all was well. For a time. Death, destruction, and the soul screams of people being devoured. A blinding flash of light. Tyrion was awake. The former High Elf Prince, defender of Ulthuan, had failed, and his people were consumed because of it. These thoughts of anguish spiraled in his groggy mind, but as his senses came to him, he realized that he was not just alive. He was elevated. His sight had been taken from him, but instead of seeing, he felt. He felt the very light around him and within him. For Tyrion, the blind god, lord of illumination and twin god of light, had been reborn as a god of Hysh, the realm of light. He felt a familiar, still slumbering presence close to him. He felt and awoke the being, and he gained a humbling gratitude as he realized that it was his brother, Teclis. His brother, the former Lore Master of Hoeth, was too reborn as the second half to Tyrion's first. Tyrion and Teclis, the twin gods of light, arose from the infinite slumber and began to travel around Hysh, searching for their elf kind, with Tyrion being able to see through Teclis' eyes. Yet, none could be found. In this land of illumination and brightness, they were alone, until a new light permeated Hysh. Contrasting to the pure light of Hysh, a new, more golden and prideful light illumined the horizon, a light which Tyrion and Teclis at once found familiar. Sigmar greeted his old allies as they rejoiced at being reunited in apotheosis. The twin gods of light eventually despaired after Sigmar recounted his travels, none of which containing any elf kind. Nonetheless, Tyrion and Teclis joined Sigmar in Azarheim, the great city of Azir, the realm of the heavens, which Sigmar had claimed as his own. In finding the twin gods of light, Sigmar embarked on a new quest. With civilizations already being formed, would it be possible that other beings survived the destruction of the old world and achieved apotheosis as he had? Just as he had achieved apotheosis through the wind of the heavens, and how Tyrion and Teclis had achieved apotheosis through the wind of light, perhaps there would be other gods attuned to the different winds of magic. Meanwhile, in the grey gloom of Ulgu, a being of shadow coalesced and began to wake. The being wandered as a shadow, bereft of any physical form, through the endless grey of Ulgu's 13 domains. Slowly, flashes of memory of the old world's destruction returned to him, and, as a blade of grass feels a light breeze, the shadow began to feel anger and frustration. These emotions solidified the shade, allowing it to coalesce and take on a more physical form. No longer less than a shadow, the being began to remember its past. And that was when it began hearing the distant screams within its mind. He was Malekith. He was the Witch King of the Dark Elves, the betrayer, the rightful Phoenix King. He was, yet he was no longer. He allowed his memories to fade as a shadow dissipating in the morning light, and all that remained was Malerion, the god of shadow. Having fully coalesced, he continued his venture throughout Ulgu, taking in its essence and making it his own. But where was his people? Where was his fellow elf kind? A faint memory of haunting, otherworldly screaming resounded within him at the thought of his people, yet he could not remember its source. Throughout his wanders, he stumbled upon the unknown beings called shadow demons, and, following their trail, they led him to someone. Someone who made his shadow self permeate equally with the feelings of familiarity as well as abhorration. For it was his mother. Morathi had not undergone apotheosis as he had, her form visibly unchanged and still made of flesh and blood. Their reunion was uneasy at best, yet an alliance of untrust was founded. How else would they find their people? The awkward wandering of mother and son did not last long, however, as Mallarion's shadowy form retreated slightly as a golden light parted the gloom. Sigmar. A somewhat tense interaction between Sigmar, Mallarion, and Morathi underwent, as in their previous lives they had not exactly been the staunchest of allies, to say the least. Nonetheless, Mallarion and Morathi both found that by reuniting with the other elven gods Tyrion and Teclis, perhaps the tumults and differences of previous lives could be set aside in favor of finding their lost elven people. The duo of Shadow accompanied Sigmar back to Azerheim and reunited with their former elven enemies, the now duo of Light. Of the origins of the last elven god, we know exceedingly little. As the twin gods ruled and personified the realm of light, Alarielle the Everqueen ruled over Giran, the realm of life. It is said that when she awoke, the very land itself blossomed and sprouted life in all of its forms. The Treekin, the Sylvaneth, arose from the lands made of bark, wood, and vines and gained sentience and guidance through the sweet-spirited songs of their mother, Alarielle. When Sigmar eventually arrived in Giran, it can be surmised that he knew that a fellow god must have awakened. Surely, such beauty and lavish nature could only be possible through apotheotic intervention. It is unknown how Alarielle and Sigmar's first interaction went, but legends tell of Sigmar actually being the one who awakened Alarielle from her deep hibernation, from which she awoke as a god. Sigmar and the goddess of life and nature soon formed a positive bond as Sigmar gained her gratitude and confidence for hope. Alarielle and Sigmar later ventured to Azerheim in the realm of the heavens, where Alarielle could reconvene with her former elven and now godly brethren. Of Alarielle and Morathi, their reintroduction would have been cold at the very best. After having found the elven gods, Sigmar continued on his journeys in the hope to find more beings such as he. There were still wholly unexplored areas in the realms to travel, and if elven gods had been found, Sigmar hoped that maybe he could find and rekindle that old and mutual friendship with dwarves, or Duardin, as they are now known. Maybe, just maybe, some Duardin gods had also awakened, and Sigmar longed for their friendship. So, would Sigmar find the Duardin gods? And what else would he find during his travels across the unexplored realms? Which, if any, gods had awoken to personify the different winds of magic? Surely, the wind of death could not have an associated god, for no being could possibly be able to rule over death itself so intimately. Recalling back to his life as a mortal, only one being, his greatest nemesis, could have possibly been a candidate. But he was long ago slain by Sigmar's hand. Unless... So join me, dear listeners, next time as we finish telling the apocryphal tales of Sigmar's journeys for long-sleeping gods, as well as the founding of the so-called Pantheon of Order. This has been yours truly, the Sigmarillion.